Hello and welcome back to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub Series. Cricket World Cup 2023 in India is in full swing. I think 19 games are over so far, and traveling across India, people are enjoying. I think the ticket fiasco is being left behind, but we will talk about it. Today was a crucial game, and I know Vishak's shaking his head. We will get his views. Today was a crucial game in Bangalore, Chinnaswamy, home of RCB. We had Australia versus Pakistan, and it was a run fest. And we have Vishak, who's been to the game in the stadium, so we will hear live from him as to what happened. And then we have Adi, who is on an India tour. Unfortunately, he's going to be on audio due to a stomach bug. But let's get started. What a win for Australia, much needed. They are into top four. So Vishak, before we go into the game, talk us through your experience about World Cup game in Chinnaswamy.
Yeah, this is the first non-India game or a non-RCB game which I've gone to. So usually go for the matches only for the teams which we support, right? So again, it was a good experience, like a high-scoring game, over 650 runs scored, and it was, yep. Only one thing which I could have thought of is like maybe the match going till the last over and Australia winning by around 15 to 20 runs. So once the Iftikhar wicket fell, it was kind of the match was done. So maybe like they could have Australia could have played a little better, as Pakistan could have played a little better. I mean, so to say and dragged it. That was the only regret. Otherwise, it was an enjoyable experience. Yeah, there were again some slogans and all which are everything that is all common when Pakistan plays. So those were there again, and yeah, it was an enjoyable experience. It was good. Yeah, there were almost everything. It was like the run first, some catches being dropped, and finally it was a good game. It was a run first. So like what you get to see in Chinnaswamy, which is a very good batting wicket. I think the boundaries were also they brought a little back. Usually where the hoardings will be there, right? That is where they had put the boundaries and they had pushed the advertisement boards a little back, which was actually good to see that the boundaries were brought back a little and made it a little bigger than the usual that 55-meter boundaries. So like it didn't make much of a difference, but at least makes like it drags it by around 5 to 6 meters a little bit. So that was one good thing.
Okay. And what about the ground capacity? I know tickets were showing sold out on Book My Show. Were all seats occupied?
No, I think that there were more than that. Some the stands which were opposite to us, most of that was empty. And I think the first half of the game, I think like the other stands were also like half empty, but it started filling up when Pakistan started batting because it was post six, right? So I think people came back from work, and but some of the stands were still half empty. So the ticketing, there is some problem with the ticketing fiasco, and we also faced a problem kind of thing. It's like the way the tickets were given. The tickets for each in our stand, the numbering is up to 126, and our seat starts from 114 to we were 8 people. But when you go into the stadium and you see there are tickets only till 112, seats till only 112. Fortunately for us, this is a non-India game, so it was like seats were little empty here and there, and we could be seated wherever we could. But if it was an India game, this could have been a bigger problem.
For sure. And we have SD, the wicket keeper, who's also visited Chinnaswamy, joining in, which is fantastic. He's also watched a game in Ferozshah Kotla. So he's on a India tour as well. SD, welcome. We were just talking about Vishak's experience. So how do you summarize
Oh,
your
great.
day at Chinnaswamy today?
Well, Chinnaswamy, as usual, it is always bubbling with enthusiasm, a lot of spirit, and irrespective of India game or not, the crowd is really on their toes to support whichever team is playing well, right? And it was good to see that there was a lot of support for the Pakistan side as well whenever they were taking wickets or hitting boundaries or sixes. Our Indian crowd were cheering for them. That was a very good sight, right? And and obviously Warner and Marsh, I mean, they literally played baseball. right? The kind of hitting against Haris Rauf was really bizarre. I saw 116 which Marsh hit and it banged the toppest tier of the roof,
Wow.
and that just went like a rocket. I
Awesome.
mean, it's
Yeah, Mitch
it's I
Marsh.
mean,
Mitch Marsh can send a long, long way. He's a pretty strong lad.
yeah. Right. And to summarize, right, when I went to Delhi for the India-Afghan match and this today's match, there is no comparison between when we have to compare Bangalore to Delhi, it's completely two parallel lines. Delhi is different and Bangalore is different. The crowd, the stadium, and then the kind of noise they make, right? In Delhi, I could see a lot of cheer for Virat Kohli specifically. But here, any player coming to the boundary, it could be one of the 11th player of the Pakistan side, and people are so happily cheering them. So obviously, hats off to the city and the sport.
Absolutely. And Vishak, one other point which is being made by Ajay Kemanu is your take on Pakistan supporter chanting their country. Is it not healthy? And also Linux Leah saying that Pakistan supporting their team is not healthy, you muppet. So what do you think of the support structure in the ground about Pakistan? And we heard from SD that the crowd were pretty neutral.
I think most of them were supporting Australia. I feel like Pakistan supporters were pretty less, and I think because since it was a neutral game, right? So it is like people wanted to have a good game rather than supporting anybody. So it was not like the usual stadium experience when you have like people shout a lot and all that when your favorite team plays, right? That kind of experience people didn't have, but it was a good game to watch. It was like a decent kind of crowd. Yeah, people did have their fun. As I said, there were some slogans which are being shouted and all that. Like some of them were unwarranted, but yeah, like everybody comes to support their team. It's eventually a World Cup. We should be like kind of yeah, just watch the game, enjoy it, rather than making such slogans. Yeah, and there were again, as Ajay said, there was chants of RCB as well, Kohli, and Bharat Mata Ki and all. That's all still fine, but there were some chants against Pakistan which could have been avoided.
Absolutely. And just as a refresher for the score, Australia batted first, put on 367, David Warner 163 of 124 balls, and then Pakistan fell short by 62 runs. So, Adi, maybe we can bring you in. I felt Australia, with the kind of start which they had, are probably 80 to 100 runs short.
Yeah, easily 400 was on the cards. I think after the first 20 overs, they were very well placed. Then Mitch Marsh inexplicably, like so many defensive dot balls. Like I think I could count at least 15 or 25 dot balls, right? To spinners, there were overs where they were like 1 run or 2 runs. He'll hit a 4 or a 6, but then 4 or 5 dot balls. So he slowed down considerably. Warner, to give him credit, kept the tempo on. Like he slowed down slightly, but he still was scoring like singles. He was not like getting stagnated. And despite both of them, like okay, Mitchell Marsh, despite doing all that, hit 9 sixes, ended with a 112 strike rate or something. The rest of the batting order below the openers was very concerning, right? Maxwell, dude, like you've got 20 overs, you know this ground. First ball, tried to become a hero, got out. Steve Smith, like fidgeted around 7 8 runs. Labuschagne also not much. Stoyne is disappointing, I will say, because he played 24 25 balls and he just scored 21 runs. Like when you're coming in with such a big platform laid, so I think they all scored like 50 runs in 60 balls or something, right? So that is where the extra 60 70 runs that Australia could have scored. So I thought they would score like 400 410, but in the end it was enough, right? Like 62 run win is a 62 run win. We can't find too many faults with that. But I think the biggest positive for Australia is Zampa was not really fully fit in the first two matches, and the last two matches he's shown us how what a champion bowler he is. I think he took four versus Sri Lanka, four in this match. He's been the difference. Maxwell was also bowling well the last couple of matches. Today he got hit in a couple of overs, but it's still okay. I think having Daniel Vittori, the current SRH coach, right? Like he is an ex-RCB player come coach. He knows the stadium well. He knows how to bowl in India well. So I think he's been giving good tips to Zampa and Maxwell, and it's been working. And I still believe, even after Australia lost their first two matches, people were like, "Oh my God, why is Australia at number 10?" I was like, the other teams are not as good quality. Australia will qualify, or like will be in shout, will be with a strong shout to qualify. So they're well on their track. Now it's between Pakistan and South Africa, I would say, for the last part, and England, of course. But with England as well, I believe they have the quality and they will bounce back. So, but the table is really nicely poised. After two matches for everyone, or earlier this week, Australia was 10, now it's 4, right? So that's very healthy for the tournament.
Absolutely. And SD Pakistan made a fantastic start. I think they were in the game till what, about 30 overs. And then unfortunately, after
Yeah.
if 40 overs, Vishak says, uh, unfortunately, after Iftikhar Ahmed, or was it Rizwan, who was the turning point for the
I would
wicket?
say Iftikhar
Uh,
because Iftikhar was hitting the big sixes. So yeah, for me it would be Iftikhar because Iftikhar had carried on. I think Babar, sorry, Rizwan could have batted around him, taken the game till the end because Rizwan doesn't hit those big shots.
Yeah, and also you
So
didn't have Shadab today, so it's not like you had a decent all-rounder following Iftikhar. So it would have been too much for Rizwan. Maybe he could have reduced the deficit, but not necessarily like won it.
SD, what do you
yeah, to
think
me,
Pakistan turning point?
so to me, Babar Azam's wicket was crucial. Uh, I mean, also agree with the other two folks, Sikar and Mohammad Rizwan. Because why I'm saying Babar Azam is the kind of uh, shots he has, the kind of uh, approach he has towards, especially orthodox cricket, right? I think 18 or 20 runs, how much he scored. While chasing 360 odd, 18, 20 runs from a captain doesn't kind of, prove a lot of health, right? And 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 high target like that needs desire hitting, right? They need to open up their shoulders and then go crazy and just tap around, dheere dheere, hallo hallo hits and flicks and cuts wouldn't help. Just ground shots wouldn't help much. And yes, as in when you are separately comparing at a media level between Babar and Kohli, I think this is where Kohli is making a difference against a tough side while chasing a high number of runs. This Kohli is more or less kind of able to succeed, right? Now, Babar Azam also needs to kind of get into the same line against Australia, South Africa, England, any team chasing high score. He needs to kind of step up and then make a big contribution, right? So yes, Babar was crucial, and Iftikhar, yes, a lot of people were teasing him like Chacha and all. So probably he got a little irritated and whacked a couple of sixes, right? And yeah, uh, yeah, 60 run shot. Uh, and good to see Australia coming up finally.
so when you're speaking on mute,
I am speaking on mute. I said Pakistan is probably themselves to blame. They lost two matches where they could have easily won. That's what I feel personally. But coming to Australia, are the Labuschagne and Steve Smith form concerning? Australia middle order seems to be very weak. We thought spin department is weak with only Zampa being there, and we can see what another spinner would have done to Australia bowling lineup. But the middle office has been disappointing throughout the tournament, Adi.
Yeah, I would still say it's early days. Like today, okay, let's take it match by match, right? Against India, the pitch was like a day 4 test match pitch turning. India has the best spinners, so fine, like that's gone. And Smith actually scored like I think 40 or something. He stuck around. Labuschagne got out as well, like quickly. Against South Africa, it was a bad game for them. Like everything that could go right for South Africa did go well, and South African bowlers like hit their peak form, like peaches of deliveries, and they all got out. Okay, then Sri Lanka match they were fine. Today as well, they got into a situation, both of them, where it's not natural for both of them, right? Like they had to go for it's they're more ideally suited for like the 10th, 11th to the 30th, 40th over, where they lay that platform. And then the hitters like your Stoinis and the Maxwells and the Inglis or Travis Head, who's going to come in, they will go and score. So I'm not too concerned. Would hope for higher scores from Smith and Labuschagne, yes, but it's still fine. Like, let's say I'm just playing out a scenario in the next match or something. Okay, Warner or Mitch Marsh, they get out after like 80 for two or like 100 for one or something, like sort of like slight platform late. I would still back Smith and Labuschagne to kind of like, okay, take Australia to the 30 to 40th over and lay that platform. So still fine. They've got two big games, right? New Zealand and England. As long as they win at least one of them, or ideally two of them, Australia should be through. So that's how they'll have to look at it. Like Australia still hasn't played like Sri Lanka was an easy game, but they haven't played Bangladesh, they haven't played Afghanistan, they haven't played Netherlands, right? So you would think Australia would defeat all three of them, and then they would have to win like at least one game in the remaining two, New Zealand, England. So yeah.
Excellent. And I can't forget to mention it here. I'm pleased to see Linux Leah is following Water Player from Germany, a German cricket fan. Excellent. Welcome and thank you very much for supporting us. Sorry, Vishak, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is I felt after after Marsh got out, I think Australia got their batting order wrong because there were around 20 overs left. They did not have to send Maxwell there. Maybe they could have got Smith in, consolidated for around 5 to 6 overs, where Warner could have carried on hitting. Right. So I think sending in Maxwell there was a bad move because they exhausted all their hitters by the time the last 10 came in. And in the end, they had somebody like a Labushin who's not known to be making the big hits or something. So that is where, if you see in the last 10 overs, they hardly scored around 65 or 70 runs, where they could have easily scored about 100 runs had the Stoinis or Maxwell came at the end. So maybe their idea was like they've got a good start if these guys get going, but that is not. These are kind of players who start hitting from ball one. They don't take their time, right? Maxwell, Stoinis, and all. So they could have got Steve Smith in. They could have done a little bit of consolidation in those few overs. Then they could have got their hitters in at a later point of time. They could have easily reached 400. So that is something Australia could have done better, but in the end, it didn't make much of a difference. They got a good score and they won by 60 runs. So in the
Yeah.
hindsight, if Pakistan would have made a match out of it, if that partnership between Iftikhar and Rizwan would have carried on a little bit, I think Australia would have regretted it.
Yeah. And
Also,
SD,
also Steve, yeah, sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, the Steve Smith form is concerning. Probably it's a point in time concern. Now, if Australia is finding ways to win the matches in the tournament, I think that Smith's form is pretty negligible. He would definitely bounce back at some point of time. But if someone is able to kind of fill in his runs and then kind of contribute what he is unable to score on their scoreboard, then that's fine. I think they have a very good fielding side, and Josh Hazelwood was amazing. So there are sufficient people to back up or fill in Smith's failures, and I think that should be fine. If he fails for a couple of matches as well, he might click well in the semi-finals or finals if they get through.
I was reading Cricket for commentary during the match, SD. One view I want to get from you is I think all four of us, five of us have been watching 50 over games since a long, long time. Is it the hangover of T20 games that we are dying for a close match? Because 50 over games hardly ever go to like a last ball. So is it unfair to expect from this World Cup that all of them are one sided games, or what's your view here?
No,
Well,
I,
in that case,
yeah, I think go ahead.
Yeah,
yeah,
what I'm
sorry.
saying is, yeah, it's tough, right? Like because you've got like 100 overs, like 50 overs, so games get decided more than us feeling that craving. I feel um, the batsmen, especially when they're chasing, they've lost the art of taking the match deep, right? They're trying for shots. It goes both ways, right? Like India also with all the four chases, they kill the match by the 20th over, right? Like India's going to win, so there's no close match. Or you've got teams who are not taking it that deep because batsmen are playing rash shots, going after a big shot. Does that make sense? So with both, because of the power hitting of T20, it's having both sides of impact. Either teams are chasing runs much faster, right? Like 35, 40, 45 overs, or they're getting all out and you're seeing like 80, 100, 60 uh, run losses. We saw that even with the first match, right? Like I was hoping it will be close one, 290 was like a good total. And then boom, New Zealand came in, 41 overs, match done. Hmm. So all of the matches that's been happening. So not just the format, but how it's evolved, right? Like these many sixers, these many runs have never been scored in World Cups, right? This is the first World Cup after uh, T20 has become purely mainstream, right? Like everywhere, the calendar is packed with T20 leagues, or last two ICC events have been T20 World Cups, 2021, 2022. All bilaterals are T20s in preparation for those World Cups. And then you've got like 10 different cricket leagues. Like even in America, we have a league now, right? So proliferation has kind of changed that attitude, right? Like chasing very quickly, or batsmen not having the temperament to take it deep and like, okay, last 10 overs I'll hit 100. No, they want to finish the match off in 40, 45 hours.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Vishak, as the one question two questions coming up. Considering it was non-India game, how easy was it to get inside the stadium? And I was not aware. Flags not allowed in the stadium? That's shocking.
Yes, they didn't allow. It was pretty shocking for us also. Fortunately, it was not us who carried it, but the people who were just ahead of us, they were carrying a flag. I understand if it's with a
And
stick, they won't allow it.
is it
They,
flag,
they,
or is it Pakistan flag or an Australia flag?
it was India flag.
Oh wow.
It was
Any
an
flag.
India flag that people were carrying, and even they were not allowed to carry that. I understand that if it was with a stick, that is not allowed. That person was ready to take the stick out and carry only the flag. Still, they were not allowed. You have to keep it. You cannot throw a flag, right?
Yeah.
So, like that
That's
was something which
disappointing. I
could
mean,
have been handled a little better.
that definitely is disappointing. And I remember Adi and Modi, when they went to the Narendra Modi Stadium, they had the flag. So Ahmedabad seems fine.
Yeah, like even in Chennai, flags were allowed. We saw in yesterday also Pune, like a lot of people were waving the flag. So very surprising from Bangalore. Even in Hyderabad, when I went for Park Sri Lanka, some people got Sri Lanka flags. There were not many Pakistan. I didn't see a Pakistan flag, but I saw Sri Lanka flags and India flags also. So maybe it's a Bangalore police thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. And then David Warner, SD, you think missed out on a double hundred? He scored like 163 runs, and in the against the run of play, or what do you think?
Yeah, definitely he missed a double hundred. So he was almost there. I mean, another 2 or 3 overs, if he had continued, he would have reached that 200 mark. And and yes, but by then he has done all the damage that he could do when he got out. So I think he should be pleased with his runs, and then even the viewers also are pleased with the amount of runs he has scored.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
just a word on one. I think we need to speak about him also. Like initially, he was dropped in the fifth over itself. It was a sitter. It was dropped, and he took maximum toll of it. He and Marsh, they both played, and it was Marsh's birthday as well today. So he got a good birthday gift by celebrating it with a century. And then, yeah, Warner definitely, I think, missed out on a double because maybe the thought was like before that over, Harris Ruff had gone for 4 overs, 57. So he hit his first ball for a six in his fifth over. He thought he could keep attacking and just demoralize him. So maybe he went for it again, didn't rate the slower delivery there. So if you see the shot, he almost lost one hand of the bat when he played that shot. So like he just wanted to keep going and demoralize Harris Ruff, I guess. So that could be the reason. Otherwise, yeah, I think it was good thinking on his part that he wanted to attack one of their premier bowlers, one of their fast bowlers, and demoralize him and try to get as much runs as possible because he was already down on confidence. But yeah, the execution could have been better. He could have planned it a little bit. If he had planned it better, he could have gotten it one. Nevertheless, it was a fantastic innings. He made use of the chances, and I don't know what happened. Both the teams dropped catches. Even Australia, I think, dropped around two catches. One was a sitter early on, and the other one I think was a little slightly difficult one. Yeah, so both the teams did drop quite a few catches, and yeah, if they had held on, I think we wouldn't have seen such a high scoring game.
For sure. And as the contrasting fast bowling figures, Pakistan versus Australia. If you look at Haris Rauf, he got pasted. And if you look at Hazelwood, like Ajay is mentioning, 3.7 economy rate. What do you think went wrong for Pakistan fast bowlers?
I think what they followed is the faster you bowl, the faster and further we'll hit, right? So the pace of Haris Rauf was pretty easy. I mean, they took it very easily, the Australians. But what Hazelwood did is he bowled very smart. So he used his pace as well, but placed in the right areas, short of good length, or probably in the some specific spots on the track. It was a flat track for sure, and on that track, Hazelwood used his brains well, and then didn't try to kind of bowl too fast, and then kind of disturbing the line and length. He just used his brain, then did what is required. But separately, Shaheen Afridi, this guy is special. Uh, that 5 wicket haul was really superb, and everyone is getting hit, and this guy is the only one who's standing out on the and doing a very good job.
Yeah, and he silenced Wasim Akram for sure and Ravi Shastri.
Yeah,
Both of them had chirping to talk about Shaheen Shah Afridi. I mean, Ravi Shastri saying that on air was shocking in the last game that he is a mediocre bowler. But look, class is permanent. Now let's take a look at what this means to the points table because Australia, who all of us were laughing, saying that they are bottom of the table, are now number four, and Pakistan and England all of a sudden are looking like are in trouble. So, Adi, what do you think of the table so far?
So pre-tournament, I was saying India, New Zealand, South Africa, and England, and I still stand by it. I kind of think South Africa will find a way to mess it up again. So England needs to make their comeback. Australia have, and it's nicely poised, right? Like for example, India, New Zealand, that match will decide who's kind of going to stay on the top. Number one, and then you've got four teams kind of vying for the two left spots. Like we all think like India and New Zealand are more or less like kind of logged in that they'll qualify unless they mess up really badly from here. But South Africa, Australia, Pakistan, England. I would pick Australia and England. So that's where I see. And the bottom four, I don't think have a chance. So they've messed up or too much to do. Like one or two wins won't cut it, and their net run rates are also not that good. The bottom four.
Okay. And SD, any surprises? Tomorrow's games are going to be pretty crucial. Very close games, hopefully. Dutch versus Sri Lanka, England versus South Africa. That's also going to jiggle the table, I think.
right, right. But overall, this the top four currently what we see now. I would prefer to see them in the semi stage as well. This is a perfect top four. I had a different reservation in my mind initially when the World Cup started, but this looks a bit even more concrete. Uh, but we will see how it goes. I mean, when we look, if it's a semi-final, India versus New Zealand, it's a revenge game, right? India versus South Africa, it's a hiccup challenge, and India versus Australia, it's always tough, right? So any semi-final opponent, it's really good. But I'm happy to see this top four as of now.
Absolutely. Excellent. So, Vishak, what can we expect tomorrow's game? Sri Lanka, Netherlands. Who do you think is winning?
I think Sri Lanka are too good. Netherlands did upset South Africa, but like not every day is a Sunday. So I think I expect Sri Lanka to come through with that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Adi
the
and
next
SD, South Africa, England. Who do you predict is tomorrow?
South Africa.
Whoever chases, that's one kid. So whoever chases, but I'll say this: like looking at how South Africa messed up the last chase, you never know, even at one kid. But jokes aside, one kid is like we have to figure out like how much dew is a factor. If dew is like a bigger factor, then even like 400 can be chased at one kid. That's like the ground, like Chinnaswamy. I think dew was not such a big factor in Chinnaswamy. Did you guys see like ballers with towels and all? I didn't see it on the telecast at least. No,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
which is a good thing. At least it.
spinners hardly bowled around 14 or 15 overs
Yeah.
because I think Maxwell bowled 4 overs, 4 or 5 overs only. Only Zampa completed his quota, so it was
Yeah,
mostly the
but
pace who were bowling there.
correct. But there were no towels and all, right? Because Zampa bowled till like 43rd or 44th, right? But still it was okay. So if if the ground held up, I'm hoping Mumbai also holds up. Then it's like an even chase. If there is dew, like gone, right? Like you just have to stay there and you have to score. But yeah, tomorrow I think it's whoever chases has a massive advantage, and South Africa will be hurting, right? Like they want to get back, and England also are on like kind of do or die sort of game. So should be fun. Hopefully it's high scorer, 350 plus, maybe 400. Let's see.
Excellent, excellent. SD and Vishak, I'm so glad that you were able to watch the game. And Adi, your next destination is Dharamshala.
No, no, I'm recovering. No Dharamshala. I was on the fence. I was able to secure tickets from someone, but I decided not to go.
Okay.
Next destination is Lucknow, India, England.
Awesome. Make sure you eat that Lucknow biryani and tell me if
Yes.
Hyderabadi biryani is better or
No,
Lucknow is better.
I'll tell you now only Hyderabadi biryani is better. I've been to Lucknow before, so it's like it's fine, but I would prefer Hyderabadi biryani over Lucknow biryani.
True Hyderabadi. Excellent. For folks who have engaged Ajay Kemenu and also Kanaya Jamna Roy's birthday, happy birthday, Canny Canny. Hope your dreams come true tomorrow and all the time. Congratulations. For folks who have engaged, thanks very much. Ajay Kemenu, Linux Leah from Germany, and Arun Gopal. Thanks, Vishak and SD. I know it's been a long day, but thanks for making time and creating the content. Adi, recover well soon and see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.